The Art of Leadership Network.
Hey leaders, welcome to the Lead Culture Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Catron, founder and CEO of the Foresight Group, where we cultivate healthy leaders who lead thriving teams. This podcast is for leaders who want more than good intentions. You want clarity, confidence, and practical tools to lead well in the real world. Each week, I'll help you navigate the challenges of leadership and culture with insights that you can actually put into practice. We'll explore what it takes to lead yourself well, because how you show up shapes everything. My goal is to equip you to lead with purpose, strengthen your culture, and create environments where people and organizations flourish. You'll hear honest conversations, real stories, and proven frameworks, along with insights from leaders who are committed to doing the work of leading well. So whether you're leading a team, an organization, or growing as a leader yourself, you're in the right place. Well, friends, I have already had a pre-podcast conversation with my good friend, Tim Foote, who is joining me today for the podcast. Tim, this is like your second or third time back to the podcast.
I think so. I love being on this podcast with you, Jenny. Thanks for having me back.
Well, I love the conversations. We're like-minded friends in so many respects, but especially around healthy teams, healthy culture. Remarkable teams would be the way you would say this. Yeah. And I'm excited to dig into your brand new book, Reaching for Remarkable: The 7 Signatures Behind Every Remarkable Team. And friends, if you don't know Tim or you haven't heard some of the past conversations, Tim is the CEO and president of Slingshot, where he and his team help organizations build remarkable teams through staffing and coaching. They are one of the organizations just in our ecosystem that I have such deep respect for. We get to collaborate here and there, probably should collaborate more along the way. But Tim, welcome. Give everybody a little bit more of a snapshot of your world, and then we're going to dive in because I'm eager to connect about your new book.
Oh, yeah. Thanks so much, Jenny. And this, I'm extra excited about being on the podcast because of the alignment that we have, both as friends and in the work that we do. Your commitment to healthy teams and healthy organizations, your work with healthy culture at the Foresight Group is just so well aligned for us. Jenny, you and I have known each other for years through all the different roles I've held at the Slingshot Group, where I now get to be CEO and lead the team. We're driven by our mission to build remarkable teams through staffing and coaching. And to that end, that's what this book is about. It's our Kingdom First principle to leave teams healthier than we found them and to help them be their very best. It's why we love when we get to culture work, when we need to do deep culture work, we send them to you guys, because that's what you do. And I just love that friendship. For your listeners that may have not heard me before, the accent is Australian. Often half the podcast will be the listeners trying to place the accent.
Where's he from?
Yeah. I've been here in the US now for 25 years. People say it sounds like I arrived yesterday. I like to keep it that way.
I appreciate you keep it that way. Yep. I love it.
But like you, Jenny, I get to be all over the place. But home is Denver, Colorado, with my wife and 2 boys, and we love it here in the mountain states. But I also love the work I get to do, traveling around the country, working with teams and placing people on teams.
So good. So good. Okay. So I want to dive into something you say pretty early in the book, because I was like, yep, this is why we just connect on so many things. But you say, what has always intrigued me most is what happens when a group of uniquely gifted contributors come together, united by a shared mission to create something greater than anyone could achieve alone. Like that vision, just makes me come just on fire. I'm like, yes, a group of unique individuals, uniquely gifted, coming together around a shared mission. Give me the backstory on when and how this became a passion for you.
I've always loved being around people. I've always loved what we can achieve together rather than achieving things on my own. We versus me. But we share a background, Jenny, in music industry.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. For me, back in Australia, I worked more heavily in the music industry, but growing up, I was a musician. And it was when I was able to create with other musicians on stage. And my most favorite experiences were when I wasn't the strongest musician on the stage, but often leading the band. And I watched how working together, listening together, we could achieve a masterpiece because of the collaboration and the awareness of each other. And then likewise, in the music world, there's tracks you got to run on to perform a masterpiece. Things like harmony and rhythm and key signatures, hint, hint. And so that's where the 7 key signatures behind Remarkable Teams comes from. Because just like you need structure in creativity and music, you need structure in order for a team to be aligned and focused on the right things and actually move a mission forward.
Yeah. So I love that backstory and framework because it's so true. And yet I don't think it's intuitive to every leader that great teams need structure or systems. Like I think that a lot of times we just rely on relationship or connection and we miss the importance of structure in alignment. So love that so much.
Well, it's interesting, Jenny, because I worked out that, I love music, but what I actually love was the art of teams. And so then taking that and working with thousands of teams now over the last 20 to 30 years to see the common thread that forms a pathway to moving mission forward and being healthy has been a really fun thing to go, oh, yeah, I see. Healthy teams actually focus on the same things. It's not rocket science. Thank goodness, because I'm not that smart.
So good. Talk about first that word remarkable, if there's any distinction in why that word has stuck with you. But then you say that every remarkable mission needs a remarkable team. So do you see a gap between those things? I mean, we work with a lot of churches and faith-forward organizations, both of our companies do. Right. And so remarkable missions all day long, right? We can pull up any website of that we get to work with, and it's like, there's a remarkable mission. Where do you see that gap between mission and teams?
Yeah, everybody, especially in faith-forward work, everybody has a remarkable mission. And it's a unique, basically it comes back to a unique expression of some sort of the Great Commission. But it's not enough. When we're talking to faith-forward leaders, mission-driven organizations, even Jesus needed a team to move forward the greatest mission of all. And it was a ragtag bunch, if we remember correctly. But he asked the right questions, focused on the right things, was aware of the right traps for that mission to be probably the most, if we look back, the most successful mission in human history. Where's the gap? The gap comes when we don't actually realize that we're stalled and not moving forward. We don't actually realize that we're misaligned in certain areas. And it's really easy to work out where those areas are and just to tweak a little bit and move forward in an aligned way. So you see this all the time in your work, Jenny. It's we think we've got the right people around the table. We think we're talking about the right things. We think we're focused on the right things, but we don't realize that we've actually stalled out. And we like to say it's the difference between functional and remarkable. That's where that remarkable word comes in.
Love it.
Because there's plenty of functional teams. I mean, functional teams get work done, but are they going to achieve remarkable results? We like to say, if your mission matters, your team matters more.
That's well said. I should steal that.
You please.
I'll give you credit for that. No, that's so true. And when you were saying that difference between functional and remarkable, I'm thinking when you've been on a remarkable team, you won't settle for functional.
Yeah. Right.
Like, there have been seasons where it's like, I've had the privilege of being on a lot of remarkable teams, and my first job experience was a remarkable team. And then we went through a transition and merger, and it was no longer a remarkable team. And I was like, what is this? Like, I can't work in this. Like, I had been so spoiled because of a remarkable team. And I think once you get a taste of that, it's like, and not that, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, Tim, but my experience is there's some ebb and flow to that. There are seasons where a team is really remarkable and then something shifts and maybe you're in a season where it's not like, throw the baby out with the bathwater, but it's like, get back to what really makes for a remarkable team. And you'll tell us about those 7 signatures in a minute. So I suspect you're going to give us a little bit of a...
Oh yeah, well, and Jenny, that's why that's why it's called reaching for remarkable, because we're always
So good.
striving, we're always reaching, and there are times when we shift, and there are times when we need to transition off of a team and move on to a new team. But if as long as we're all aligned in reaching for remarkable, it's interesting at
Oh,
time of
good distinction. Yeah,
oh
that's
yeah,
good.
and at time of recording, Jenny, I mean, recently we had that big good news story with the Artemis 2 space mission,
Mm-hmm.
with that crew going further than we've gone in 50 years. But it wasn't one hero. It was
Yeah,
a
that's right.
remarkable mission with a remarkable team. And I think I heard one of the astronauts quoted as saying, "We left as friends, we returned splashed down to the Pacific Ocean as best friends." That sounds like functional to remarkable to me.
It does. Sure does. Yep. Sure does. That's so good. Okay. Before you get into the 7 signatures, another thing that stood out to me, and I think it helps kind of set up the framing of just how you think about this, how I think about this work too. But you say the quiet villain in many organizations isn't a lack of self-awareness, it's the absence of team awareness. Talk about that distinction between self-awareness, team awareness, why team awareness is so critical.
Yeah. Well, we're both Gen Xers, Jenny. Sorry to out you.
We are.
But I think we code switch a lot between boomers and millennials. And more often than not, we think that we have to have the answer. And we grew up in this leadership generation of all of the personality profiling. You know, you can be a color, you can be an animal, you can be a number, you can be all kinds of things. And we're a fan of those. Both you and I are. It's almost like we're expected now to show up self-aware. If we're in any kind of leadership, you list the personality profiling you've done and you talk about your strengths and your weaknesses. I'm not sure we talk enough these days about team awareness. And what I mean by that is we understand our own strengths and weaknesses. Are we aware of the people around us and their strengths and weaknesses? How we can work together aligned. I think one of the most powerful statements a leader can make today is, "I don't know." So often we feel like we have to earn our place at the table when we've already been invited to the table. We feel like we have to have the answers, and it shuts down collaboration, it shuts down new thought, and it shuts down new ideas. But if we're open with our vulnerability and aware of the strengths around the table and helping each other win, that's when the mission moves forward. It's why we've got this new team awareness assessment on our book website, reachingforremarkable.com. It's a less than 10-minute assessment that gives you percentages or heat maps each of these key signatures that we'll go through. But it's all about, okay, what do I think as a leader where we are on these 7? What does our team think? How do we get aligned on the right things and move forward together? We, not me.
So good. Gosh, you nailed that of like, we love all the self-awareness tools, but the vulnerability of saying, I don't know, or being unwilling or, willing to acknowledge that I don't know how to do something, that's big. Cause you're right. We do feel the responsibility of needing an answer. And I remember some, kind of key points on my journey, and this is still a challenge for me, but, feeling like, because I was in the leadership seat, I needed to be able to direct the answer instead of engage the team. I was literally coaching somebody this week, and the question was, what do I do if I'm in charge but I don't know the answer? And so it's exactly that of like, they felt the pressure of I should have the answer, so I don't know where to go when I don't.
Yeah.
I was coaching that individual and say, hey, let's lean into your team, because they probably at least have ideas or suggestions. But it wasn't intuitive, right? It wasn't the first reaction for that leader to even acknowledge or admit that, right? So,
and Jenny, that's when the fun begins. And it's actually how you retain great leaders. If they feel like they can speak into vision and direction and strategy because they're bringing something valuable to the table, then to be self-aware enough in leadership to let other people lead at certain times in the area of their strengths and giftedness, that's when a team truly comes to alive, and the fun happens and the mission moves forward.
Yeah, so good. Okay, I want to hear about, so I suspect, I want you to give us an overview of the 7 signatures. Maybe a little bit of how you landed on them. You can take this any way you want, Tim. So I'm going to give you like freedom here to give us a little bit of an overview of those signatures. And then we're kind of pick where we want to, you can't give them all away because we all need to go get the book. So give us a little bit of insight into a couple of them that you feel like are really valuable. So give us the overview, and then I may ping you with a few questions.
I'll give you the overview, and then you see what grabs you, and we can jump back in. What I may do too on each of these, Jenny, is give you the most common trap, because what the book also does,
is
it outlines the traps to avoid to move forward with these key signatures. So let me run through the 7 real quick. Signature number 1 is conviction, which is a clear sense of why you exist and what you're called to do. It's greater than belief. It's what we live for about our mission. And the most common trap when it comes to conviction that gets us off kilter is misalignment. I mean, this isn't rocket science. How do you realign your key stakeholders? The second key signature is message, a compelling and consistent way of communicating what matters most, because everything communicates. Everything we do communicates a story about our team, our mission, and our leadership. And the biggest trap to avoid is assumption, assuming people understand and care.
That's big.
Oh yeah, we're all up in it, and we just assume. We don't ask questions. Is this clear? So there you go. That's number 2. Number 3, Jenny, is culture, which you can podcast session after session on this, values and behaviors that shape the soul of your team. Yeah. And there's so many different ways you can go with culture, but the one of the number 1 traps we see in our work is the transactional trap. It's when people feel only valued for what they do, not who they are. Obvious one. We can unpack that more. Number 4 is roles. This is a big one for us because we do recruiting. It's unique contributions for remarkable impact. And that is leveraging each person in their strengths and understanding their weaknesses, putting them in the right roles to move the mission forward. The most common trap here is the comfort trap, Jenny. We see this all the time when you highlight compatibility over capability. So it's hiring friends or family members in an organization who aren't actually the right people for those roles, but they're a good hang or they're safe. So that's a common one. The next key signature is systems, scalable design for remarkable growth. We have to have the systems that can move our mission forward, or it won't move forward. And the biggest trap when it comes to systems is complacency. Often we associate complacency with laziness. Actually, busyness stops us from building the right systems to move forward. Remarkable teams are not just busy, they're building. We can talk more about that. The next key signature
That's a good one.
is friction, embracing healthy conflict for growth. Jenny, you and I both know if you don't have friction, your mission isn't going anywhere. Friction is the rubber that meets the road, moves the mission forward. We, as leaders, we get to decide if it's healthy or unhealthy. And the biggest trap when it comes to friction is unspoken influences. Things outside the room that are influencing conversations and strategies, the things that are getting pushed down and not talked about. And then that leads to number 7. The 7th key signature is risk, bold moves that drive remarkable learnings and outcomes. And we all know as leaders that being risky can feel pretty lonely, but the biggest trap is margin. It's not listening to your team and moving forward with the right data when you actually take risks. And we've got an equation in the book that will help you with your risk taking and those kinds of decisions. But margin is a common trap. This is a pathway. They all build on each other, and we believe they all lead to mission momentum. So that's an overview of the 7 key signatures and the most common traps.
I love hearing them through the lens of the trap, because you're like, oh, that really catches your attention really quickly. Okay, I have so many questions, because even as you, I read the book and then I'm hearing you give me the cliff notes on each one of them. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so good. Okay, how did you land on the 7? Let's hear your backstory of how you landed on the 7 to begin with.
It was a process of elimination. It's like now being in recruitment work for at Slingshot, best part of 20 years, for me over 15 years, but then working with teams, growing in teams, leveraging teams for the last 30 years of my career. It was going, I think there's a framework here. And then getting the brain trust on our team at Slingshot, who've been a part of working with these thousands of teams, going, oh yeah, we see the pattern too. And then working out what goes here, what goes there, what does this mean, what does that mean, what stays on the cutting room floor, and then landing on, okay, I can see how this is the logical pathway for us to invest in teams being healthier and teams trending towards remarkable mission momentum.
Yeah, so good. There's just a couple things. I'm going to hit a couple things that stood out to me as you were talking about them, and then I want to drill down on a couple of them. But when you were talking about message, the trap being assumption, that we do. I mean, this is just, we're guilty of this as leaders. It feels very clear to us. We feel like we've said it and everybody understands it. And you can assume the amount of times that this is what I bump into with some of the teams we're working with. And it's like you have this divide between senior leadership and the rest of the team. And the senior leaders are like, yeah, of course, that feels obvious and clear. And it's like, it's just so fuzzy throughout the rest of the organization. So, and it always catches both sides by surprise that senior leaders are just shocked that people don't have that clarity of message, and team members are shocked that they don't, that they think they've been clear, so that one stood out to me.
Part of it too, Jenny, is message is communication. And a big piece for me when I started in this work years ago was naturally we think communication is more about speaking and delivering the message, but no, it's more about listening. And we don't stop long enough to ask the right questions about clarity and listen to the answers. And then we end up paying a stupid tax, months or years down the road because our team wasn't actually clear on the message that we were communicating. And communication isn't just somebody's job with a title. It's everybody's job at every level of the organization, internally and externally.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Okay. I want you to take some airtime on the one that is so obviously building remarkable teams is what you guys do, but you at Slingshot, you specifically are helping place people in roles at organizations. So I want to hit roles, that unique contribution for remarkable impact. When you said compatibility over capability, that strikes a chord, right? That is the temptation to maybe keep the peace. Just talk more about what you see related to roles and how that one shows up.
And it's why, Jenny, these build on each other, because when you get the right people in the right roles, you need the right systems to support them or they're going to burn out. You don't want to rely on heroes and the shiny object, the unicorn. I mean, you hear a lot of search firms talk about hiring the unicorn. We're looking for the purple unicorn. Here's the problem with that. Last time I checked, unicorns are still mythical creatures. And it's only when we work together as a team aligned that we're going to grow together. You're not going to find the perfect person. There's going to be edges, but you want to put them in the right role to succeed. Here's a tool that has been amazing for us, Jenny, when it comes to roles and being in the recruiting work that we're in, is can you simplify the job description for each role on your team to a one-line job description?
Brilliant.
One line that connects to the overall mission. And what that does is it defines the win for the people on your team. And not only does it define the win, it gives you structure for your one-on-ones. Because just like I'm sure you say all the time, Jenny, in your work, hey, keep the mission in front of you at all times. Yeah, have it on the wall, but start every meeting with the mission in front of you so that they make sense, so that it's moving the mission forward. Just like your one-line job description, that's your win. How are all these things we talked about in your one-on-one today, how do they relate to that one line that describes what you do and how you move the mission forward?
Yeah, really well said.
It's been a game changer for us. But then we see so often the wrong people in the spots around the table because there was they highlighted chemistry over capability. And that's a real problem because you're holding that person back who's around the table. I mean, you and I have talked about hiring and firing before.
Yeah.
And often it's when we're obedient to what we believe God's story in a leader's life is, we need to encourage them to find something else because they're misaligned in their current role. But it's being honest about the right people in the right seats around the table and it not just being the safe and comfortable people. But yes, then we need systems. That's going to lead to friction. And then they're going to want to take risks.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the cascading effect of this that you're talking about. One of the things that we have in the lead culture framework is we call it the clarity cascade, that your mission has to be clear. Then you have to have a clear vision of where you're headed. And then the structure is designed to support that mission and vision.
Yes.
Or rather mission, vision, strategy. The structure supports the strategy. So then like every role is mission critical. So it's forcing you to say, hey, is this person in the role is defined based upon what the mission needs. And then now do we have the right person in that seat for that responsibility? And so often, especially ministry focused organizations, the capability thing just stands out to me because we have difficulty sometimes if the mission is requiring something different, we have difficulty having the conversations or making the call to adjust the people in the roles appropriately. And so,
Well, Jen, it's why reorgs are so hard. And you've walked through so many organizations through reorgs. And even before this call, you and I were talking about the book release. And I was saying, we also did a reorg at Slingshot because as I'm writing the book, I'm looking at our own team. Sure. And that caused some transition too. That was really emotionally hard. Sure. But I also knew that these leaders, God was writing a story in their lives too. And
that's right.
Last time I looked, I'm make a terrible God. So I just need to be obedient to how he's leading me as a leader and trust that he's leading everybody else too.
Yeah. Yep. So well said. Well said. Okay. So I do love that culture was 3, but why 3? Why is, because of course that's my bias. So give us the why culture is 3 in the framework.
Jenny, I'm so glad you brought that up because I always usually clarify this and give a disclaimer because culture is such a big one. I mean, we know that culture is the soil, culture is the soul. You know all the things,
right? And all the analogies,
Well, why is culture number 3? Culture's number 3, and it is the soil and it is the soul. It's number 3 because you can't have culture without conviction or a story.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like you got to have your why, and you've got to have a story, a mission, and then that starts to build the culture. That's why it's number 3 because in the pathway, and I agonize over this, but in the pathway, it's like I don't see how you've got to have those 2 things first, and then you build the culture. But that's culture is so many things. But if we're in a pathway, it made sense for it to be 3. And it's okay for you to push back too.
No, I'm processing this in real time with you. But as you're saying that, I mean, obviously I have a deep passion for culture, but culture matters because the mission matters, right? Culture matters because the mission matters. And so even when, my definition of culture is clarity of who we are and how we work together to achieve the mission, we have to have that clarity of who we are. What's that conviction? What's that message? That gives us the unifying theme for why are we here together? Why does a team need to be put together around this? Now we've got that sense of this is why we're here. And then a culture begins to form. So I'm with you on that. I hadn't really processed it ahead of time. But
that's a huge relief for me because I have so much respect, Jenny, for you and your understanding of culture and the work you do.
As
I've been explaining it, I deliberately left that out because I knew that you would come back to that. And it's a relief to have that affirmation.
I love it. Well, I mean, you could have made the argument that roles even come before culture. So, I mean, there was but I love that because the culture is, it is the water everybody's swimming in. But if we haven't defined what that is, why we're here together. I'm tracking with you. So good. Yeah. So good. Okay. I want to let me look at my notes. Cause I made a ton of scribbles while you were talking through these.
I saw you scribbling. I was excited to see what
I was like, come back to that. Okay, here's my question for you. Instead of asking you about any one of them, are there any of these that you are seeing leaders particularly struggling with right now?
Easy. Friction.
Okay.
Like
I kind of wanted to lead the conversation because that was my assumption, but I was like, no, I'm going to ask the question and see if that's the truth.
They go straight to friction. It's the most uncomfortable. Zippia, I think, did a workplace survey and found that 76% of workers in the workforce avoid friction, which is really scary for mission momentum.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is the most common talked about. We call it the loaded gun of the 7 key signatures, because when it goes off, it's either going to break through a wall that you needed to break through to move the mission forward, or somebody's going to get really badly hurt. And it's up to the leader to steward that friction and make sure it stays in the healthy column and the not unhealthy column. But any type of friction is going to be hard to engage. But it's the way you attract leaders, it's the way you retain leaders, it's the way you move the mission forward, it's the way you stay healthy, all kinds of things. But it's the obvious one, Jenny. And the problem with it being the obvious one is then there's some silent killers going on down the pathway that people aren't looking at. Because, I used to think early on in doing work with teams that a harmonious team was a healthy team. But Jenny, you and I know the absence of conflict, tension, or friction is actually the sign of unhealth.
That's right.
Because we've pushed it deep and it's going to surface, or it's going to come out sideways in really unhealthy ways. So naturally, I would go to friction. But of course, then if the conviction isn't clear enough, or people aren't understanding the message, or culture's a little off, or the systems are, you see how it all plays in.
And it does. It all goes hand in hand. And would you say that it's like if you're feeling a pain point somewhere, do you look above it? Like, so if I'm looking at these 7, in a line, like if I notice that there's a lack of role clarity or something, do I look further up to see if there's something missing up, in conviction or message or culture? Or
not necessarily. And this is why the assessment is really helpful, because when we go into to work with teams specifically around these 7, and we're preparing teams to receive a new team member, or we're preparing a leader to join a team, it gives you a really good sense of where it lies. And honestly, in the work that we do, Jenny, often with faith-driven organizations or mission-driven for-profits, they're normally pretty good on conviction. Normally. Sometimes you get surprised and you go, oh, okay, we need to do some foundational work. If there's issues with conviction, that's a really good place to start.
That's right. First things first. Let's get back here.
Again, you can't have healthy culture without conviction and a clear message. Yeah. So you get a sense of that. But sometimes I get surprised when I look at a team's team awareness assessment results, and I go, oh, this is interesting. I didn't expect them to have the struggle there, but let's start there and let's see where that leads us to. Or we'll get in with a team and it'll reveal some other things. And smart team members who've done the assessment will say, okay, what was the team's average on this? Because then they can work out where their personal average sits against the team average and get a sense of where their personal alignment is with the team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Powerful conversations to spark with teams using that. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. I could keep asking you a million questions, but everybody needs to get the book, because that's going to be the best resource for this. And we'll come back, and I want to have you give everybody the website again of where to take the team assessment, find the book, etc. We'll get to that in a minute. If a leader's listening and they're recognizing, like, even as I hear those 7, I know I've got some things to pay attention to. What's one quick thing a leader could do even before they get the book in their hand and read it? But they can, like, just from even listening to this, one quick thing that can shift a team's trajectory, like kind of low-hanging fruit. Like, what are we all kind of avoiding or missing, or thing we could do tomorrow when we walk into our team that would help us move towards remarkable, or reach for remarkable, as it were?
There you go. I mean, really, the easy thing is to jump onto reachingforremarkable.com and take the assessment. So you know where you are before you walk in. Because then you can go in, and there's questions in the book too that you can ask the team, but then at least you know, okay, me personally, I think we're low here, but I'm going to go in and ask the team to take it, and it's anonymous. I'm going to ask to take it to get a sense of whether I'm aligned and understanding. And you and I both know, Jenny, because we run organizations, it's really hard for us to get a bead as the leader of the organization on what's really happening. So true. That's why this is so good. You and I also both know that when there's any kind of dysfunction moving towards toxicity, if it starts with the leader at the top, we've got a big, hard task ahead of us.
That's right.
And so as the team leader, to be open-handed, open-minded, and realize if your mission matters, your team matters more. So get vulnerable, work on your own humility, and be ready to really jump into this. Because when you look at it emotionally, for us, for me, conviction shapes the heart, right? Message shapes the voice. Culture shapes the atmosphere. You know this. Role shape contribution. Systems shape sustainability. Friction shapes growth. And risk shapes the future. That's why this stuff matters.
So good.
And so getting a sense of where you are on this to start with as the leader of your team, or even if you want to take this to your leader, saying, hey, I've looked at this, I read through this, and this is where I think we need to do some work, or just have a read of it, or do this and get a sense of where you are. It's back to the Enneagram. I did the Enneagram when I was in my early 20s in leadership, Jenny, and I'm so grateful that I started that early with those kinds of profiles. But purists of the Enneagram will say, don't do a test, read the book, understand the types, and then decide who you are.
Right.
Now, this is a mix. But you want to do the assessment, then you want to understand the thinking behind these 7 key signatures to work out where you need to focus your attention.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Tim, thank you for your work on this, because I know these kind of frameworks don't get, built overnight or, good idea in the shower. These are this is a labor of love for years of processing and assessing and discerning, studying the teams that you've had the privilege of being a part of and supporting. And so just thank you for your faithful work. Because as you're saying it all, and my mind starts to organize it all of I hear the 7 key signatures, I hear the traps, and then you just rattled through the, what did you call them? The
emotional side.
The emotional side. Yeah. Just so helpful to get our heads around that. So friends, you for sure want to go to reachingforremarkable.com, correct, Tim? Yep. That's the right URL. Take the assessment. I love what you suggested there, Tim, of take it yourself and then get your team to take it. Foster conversation. I don't know about you, Tim, but these conversations never get old to me. Anytime that you can surface a tool like this to spark conversation with your team, and as a leader, you're giving them permission to maybe open up or give feedback on something that they maybe haven't felt comfortable addressing or might not have had language for it, right? So they might have been noticing that, we're struggling in one of these, but they might not have known how to define it or describe it. And now you're creating language that can foster really good conversations for that. Is that some of what you're seeing as teams are digging into this?
Oh, yeah. And you and I talk about this in our work all the time. 99.9% of teams we work with have good in them. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
So you start by affirming the good and continue to reach for the best. And that's why there are so many great tools that you use, tools that we use. Continue to reach for that. And Jenny, part of this for me, people will often say, congrats on the book. I know it was a passion project. It was, yes, but it was also something to help me sleep at night, because we place people on teams and we need to do the work we can to help teams be the best that they can. Just like we're going to send people to the Foresight Group who need to work on their culture, who need to work on their organizational structure and health, because our mission is too important. Yeah. What we do is too important. We have to focus on alignment.
So good. Gosh, Tim, thank you so much. This is so good. And everybody listening, I hope you've already gone to the website while we were talking, and you're probably starting to fill out your assessment, or you've gone and grabbed a copy of the book. Tim, where's the best place? Reaching for Remarkable, I'm sure, has everything. Yes? Is that the best place to go for the book, for connecting with you, et cetera?
It'll kick you to Amazon. I mean, that's where we get everything these days, right, Jenny?
I know. I was like, well, send them to the URL, but yes. Amazon's just
you want to go to the URL because it's got a bunch of things on there, including a very generous and wonderful endorsement from Jenny Catron. But it's but also Amazon's the place to get the book.
All right, Tim.
Reaching for Remarkable is the place to do the assessment.
Perfect. Any last thought or encouragement to the leaders that are listening today?
Just what we've talked about. Do not be afraid to not know the answer, because that's when the magic can happen. And keep asking the question, what's everybody thinking but nobody's talking about? Because that will unlock a ton of information that you need to focus on the right things to move the mission forward.
Brilliant. Tim, thank you so much. Friends, I know that you probably were scribbling as many notes as I was. So make sure you rate, review, you reach out to Tim, you grab that assessment, you get the book, do the follow-up steps right away while this is fresh, and share this episode with a friend and or your team. Because again, this is a great conversation starter, and then you go get all those resources, the assessment, the book, and use it as a way to continue to build that remarkable team, that reaching for remarkable that Tim has taught us today. We're so grateful that you guys are here. Thanks for listening every week, for joining us, and we will see you next time. Thanks, everybody.